Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freighter. Between the 1960s and early 1990s, St. James and its capital Montego Bay was Jamaica's undisputed capital of hospitality, the hub of the nation's tourism. The place where tourists, especially from North America, would come when they want a taste of paradise, sea, sand, sun, and for those who desire it, sex. In that era, Kingston, which had a reputation for crime, especially gun violence, was properly divorced from Montego Bay, as when marketing Montego Bay, tourism stakeholders would be very meticulous in stating that Kingston was far away from Montego Bay and the lifestyle was quite different. And the Jamaica No Problem slogan really meant Montego Bay, no problem. Back in those days of rich hospitality in Montego Bay, visitors to the island with their unofficial tour guide, street hustlers, could venture in just about any community without fear, as residents would welcome them with open arms in the hope that they would buy carvings and paintings and other trinkets, and for those who smoke, a nice draw of the Jamaican sensimilla. It was therefore great disappointment that business leaders and tourism stakeholders were forced to accept that the parish had lost its innocence in 2003 when crime moved up from the juggling of a little weed on the corner to very, very serious issues to including murders, which soared over the 100 mark for the first time in the parish's history. In this edition of Lest You Forget, we will be revisiting the lead up to St. James losing its innocence to murders from a series of stories I wrote for the Gleaner at the time. In August that year, the parish murder count had climbed to an unprecedented 54 as marauding gangsters began to make their presence felt in communities such as Norwood, Flankers, and Glendevon. As was expected, tourism stakeholders began to panic. In the previous year, the parish had seen 83 murders, the highest in its history at the time, and that was backed up by some 117 shootings and 55 robberies. Businessman Godfrey Dyer, the then chairman of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, made it quite clear that he was not happy with the state of affairs and demanded that the police do more to curb the violence. In October, the parish got a rude wake-up call when the full extent of its awesome firepower was put on display when armed gangsters in Canterbury engaged the security forces in a bruising 8-hour gun battle, which shocked the entire nation and sent the tourism sector into panic mode. In that same October, with all of 2 months to go in the year, and the murder count at an unprecedented 82, the prospect of recording 100 murders in the parish for the first time was looming very large. I will now look at a story I wrote at the time, which was published in the Gleaner on October 16, 2003, under the headline, Murders Near Record Level in St. James. The story read as follows. With St. James's murder figure now standing at 82, just one short of last year's dubious all-time record of 83, the parish has been targeted for special attention under the constabulary's new geographical police model, which was announced on Tuesday. Reacting to the news that murder in St. James is poised to enter uncharted waters, Montego Bay Chamber of Commerce President Winston Deere told the Gleaner on Monday that he was quite concerned about the situation, which he said was bound to have a negative impact on people's life and the tourist trade. "We are quite alarmed at the situation," said Mr. Deere, expressing fear that the existing situation might hurt the city's image as a safe tourism destination. "It is really bad for the parish and it is bound to have a negative impact on our main industry, tourism." Mr. Deere's statement mirrors similar sentiments to those that were expressed by businesses and political leaders such as Jamaica Hotel and Tours Association President Godfrey Dyer and the Jamaica Labour Party's spokesman on tourism Edmund Bartlett, especially against the background that the murder rate climbed briskly from just over 40 in late July to its present number. But the parish's police commander, Superintendent Newton Amos, and his crime chief, Deputy Superintendent Derek Cowboy Knight, seemingly unable to stem the murders. Police Commissioner Francis Forbes declared that the St. James segment of the National Crime Plan had failed, and the situation was beginning to look hopeless. However, with the newly announced measures which has the much feared senior superintendent Donald Pusey at the helm of operations targeting St. James, residents are hopeful that the police will finally get the situation under control in communities such as Norwood, Canterbury, Flankers, Mount Salem and Glendevon. According to statistics provided by the police, the breakdown of the murders in St. James this year read as follows: 14 domestic, 7 drug-related, 17 gang-related, 16 robbery-related, 18 reprisals, 3 bomb killings, and 5 for unknown reasons. It should be interesting to note that the parish ended the year with 106 murders, the first time it had crossed the 100 murder mark. In looking back at that bloody 2003, it was most definitely one of those unforgettable periods in the history of Western Jamaica.
Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freitas.
Before you go, please remember to subscribe.